everyone, it's Allison, having some coffee because it's that kind of day. So I follow Vonnart and Johnston on Instagram. They're two of my favorite artists. I really like their work. I will put their Instagrams in the show description. And when I found out Vonnart had a YouTube channel, I was super psyched. So I went there, and there was a video of him interviewing Johnston, and I was like, is this real? This is perfect. What? So I got really excited. I watched the whole thing, and it was just so enlightening, and it was so, I don't know if there's another word besides enlightening. That wouldn't sound like I'm just repeating myself. It was very thought-provoking, and it really made me think even more about the way I make work. I guess part of me, I'll put my coffee down. Sometimes I feel like since I've been doing the same work for a while, I definitely got in a rut where I need to start drawing. There's definitely a point where I felt like I kind of had my style figured out, and there wasn't much more for me to learn. That's kind of egotistical to think, but there was a point maybe a couple years ago where I was like, this is just my style and there's nothing that needs to change, and I sort of realized that there was so much more that I could do and so many different techniques that I could use to strengthen my style without changing it. That's key. So I wanted to talk about some of the highlights of that interview for me and encourage you guys to go watch it because it was really incredible, and I'm going to work on the hair while I do that. I wrote a bunch of stuff down that stuck with me in this journal, so I'm going to have to refer to it while drawing, so this is going to be a big multitasking event. The first one that I wrote down was they talked about art as a means to think out loud, and I just really loved that specific phrase. It's I've felt that way for a long time, but it can be hard to articulate exactly what I'm trying to do with art, or exactly why it's so cathartic for me, or why I think it's important for everyone, not just people who feel like they're good at art, to do. Using art as a way to process and cope with feelings is really important. Kind of bad that my head is cut off at the top. When did I get tall? Another thing that Miles said, he said a lot of very quotable things when talking about some of his more detailed work, and how some of it can be when you have the idea and it's gonna take hours and hours or days and days to do, and he referred to it as a nightmare, and then he said, quote, "I love a good nightmare." I just I loved that quote for so many reasons. First of all, it just sounds cool. You can't deny it, that just sounds cool. It sounds like it would be in a horror movie or something. I also liked it because I can totally relate. It's a little weird to say and people kind of look at you sideways, but when I have a task in front of me that I know exactly how to do, but I know that it's going to take me hours, if not days, of meticulous work, I get really excited. Doing all these stipples, for example, that's a task that is daunting, but also I know how to do it. It's just going to take a really long time, and I find comfort in that, and saying I love a good nightmare is just such a cool way to encompass that feeling. Oh, there are some shaky lines in here, but we're working with them. We're making it work. Totally just winging it right now, but feels good. So another great quote from that video that really made me think was Miles said, "The thing you feel is missing from other people is the thing you're meant to make." You hear that sort of sentiment expressed in a lot of different ways. Similar thing I've heard people say is, you notice a gap in the market and you fill that gap. You hear that as the success story behind a lot of new innovative business models and stuff like that. For some reason, I had never thought of that in respect to art quite the same way. I feel like what I'm gonna say is gonna sound like a very limited view, but I would think of art as a way to visually express things that I'm feeling or things that I'm going through, or a fresh perspective on things, but only as it related to experiences. But there's a lot of things that I feel like are missing, but I wouldn't have considered expressing it in art before, and I would think like, oh yeah, it'd be cool if someone invented that, or it'd be cool if someone made that movie, but I wouldn't think of a way to artistically express it in my medium. Okay, so I'm just gonna do one more and resist the urge to like leaf through and end up quoting like the entire video to you, the entire interview. Okay, so Miles said, there's no interesting subject, there's just your ability to pay attention and see what's interesting. I felt like that, oh my pen. Oh, this pen is near its end. That phrase I really loved, and it's perfect for coming back to in times of art block. There's been a lot of times where I have an idea about like a portrait, something like this that I want to do, and I know what I want it to communicate, and I know that it will, but then I'm like, but like, will that be interesting? Like, will me just drawing like a face like be interesting? When I was watching this video, I had an idea for like another series that I wanted to start, and I was stuck because I was like, is it gonna be too mundane? Like, what can I do to give it like a twist that will make it different, or that will catch people's eye? And I was stuck on that question, and so it was really kind of serendipitous and perfect that I happened to be at that part of the video that day, because him saying that made me think like, I don't have to do anything, like there doesn't have to be any special like plot twist. What I gained from that and what helped me get started was thinking like, as long as I am just invested enough in my concept and in my subject, just like that interest alone and paying enough attention to what I'm doing and making, like putting all of that energy into it, it will be interesting enough without me having to try to force something to make it quote unquote interesting. That really helped me, and it's a project, it's separate from this one, and it's something that I've been wanting to do for like a year, and I was just so stuck on like, what's gonna make this interesting, and then the answer was right there in front of my face. I don't remember how much hair was here when I started, so I'm not really sure if I did like a bunch or not much. And my pen, like I said, it's coming to an end. But again, like I really loved that video. I had like a ton of mini art epiphanies listening to it. I took a ton of notes. I don't know if that's what Vonnart anticipated when he did that interview, but I'm really thankful that he did. And again, they are both just totally incredible artists. You absolutely should go follow them on Instagram and just admire their work. It's so beautiful. And I mean, I just called out like, what was that, like 3 or 4 things that stuck out to me, but there were so many more. And I say that because I really, again, encourage you to go check that video out. Let me know what you think of it, because again, I just found it really inspiring. And there were parts that were like funny, like they have a great rapport. It was such like an easy conversation to listen to, kind of like listening to a podcast where you almost feel like you're there. That's how it felt, just like very, very pleasant to listen to. And you know, I would have it on like while I was drawing or while I was working. And they cover so many different topics. Like it was really great. If I gave YouTube reviews, I would say 5 stars, 5 out of 5. Definitely go check it out. I'll link that in the description as well. And now I'm basically just talking so that I have more time to fill so I can keep drawing, because I'm on a roll right now. Good thing hair isn't supposed to be symmetrical, because can you imagine trying to make this exactly like that? But it's working. My biggest anxiety when I started this side in the last video, I started to worry that it was going to look too different and it would just be a mess, but I think I've recovered. That's kind of the one risk. I'm off subject a little bit, but with working on multiple projects at a time. Like, they have different vibes. So I'll like get into my pattern for one drawing and then come back to this one and I'm like, oh, this is different. Ooh, oh, yeah, this pen, man. Wow. Okay. Okay, so that is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that, again, what's going on with these flyaways? Every video it's something. I hope that you'll check out Vonnart's video as well. Again, I'll put it in the show notes and let me know what you think of it. Did I say that already? I would love to hear like if anything stuck out to you, or if you agree with me that the quotes I pointed out were like really insightful. What do you think? Let me know. Let me know what you think of this. And thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you later.